Hi, I'm Matt Moneyloser, founder of the BBFRO. The BBFRO was founded 2 years ago when I decided to unite BooBoo believers across the nation on a quest to finally prove the existence of the Boo. For years you've heard the urban legends, you've heard the stories. Now I aim to gather a group of professionals as we travel the country listening to stories, gathering evidence, and proof of the Boo. The Boo is a hideous creature. If you've ever seen the Boo, you'll never forget it. Huge, 7, 8 foot, nasty, matted fur, a giant head, huge extremity. It's unlike anything. To be in the woods, to come across the Boo, it's life-changing. There's really no way to describe it. It's almost as if every story you hear has a ring of truth to it, because the sheer shock from seeing a Boo for the first time, well, let's just say it changes you. For the first time ever, I've decided to share my first encounter with the Boo on camera. For the first time ever, I want the world to know what happened to me. I want to prove the existence of the Boo. For years I've been mocked and ridiculed. The Boo is one of the most elusive creatures that walks the face of this earth. Nearly impossible to hunt, impossible to find. Almost every known occurrence of the Boo has been by chance. This is my story. I've only shared my experience with the Boo to just a few people. I really never felt like I could really share the intimate details of that day. I knew I'd be mocked. I knew I'd be looked down upon. But it's time for my story to get out there. Back in 1978, I was walking through these woods by myself. At that point in time, I was just out scouting some hunting grounds. Nothing out of the normal. Been playing in these woods since I was a young boy. Played in these woods every day. Never had an experience. Never saw anything more than deer. And then it happened. I heard some noise off to my left. And I looked and thought maybe I'd stumbled across a deer. The noise got a little louder. It didn't really sound like the noise that a deer would make, or even several deer would make. It was more like maybe it was people moving around. I thought I heard some footsteps, and I called out, "Is anyone there?" The first time ever being in the woods alone, I started to get scared. I know that may sound funny, but I just knew something wasn't right. I felt it. You could feel it in the air, and then it hit me. It was probably the worst smell that I'd ever smelt. It was a nasty, pungent, moldy smell. I thought maybe I'd stumbled across a carcass, or I just knew something wasn't right. It was a horrific roar. Instantly, the hair on my neck stood up. I almost went into a sweat. I knew I was in trouble. Whatever made that roar, I knew was bigger than me. In panic, I just turned to the left and right. And as I turned around, there it was, standing over. I saw it for the first time. As this creature raised its arms as if just to pick me up off the ground like I was nothing. I locked eyes with him for just a moment. Now, the corner of my eye, I saw something I never would have expected. Here is this huge creature, massive muscles, huge arms, long, nasty fur. And I caught a glimpse. And just for a moment, I looked over and I saw it had little hands. I'm talking tiny little hands. My eyes looked back into the Boo's. I don't know what it was. Perhaps when I saw those little hands, I believe, yeah, a little smirk came over my face. And I believe the Boo knew that I was mocking his little hands. It was at that moment that I must have enraged the Boo so much that he took those tiny little hands, those little nubs, and began just flailing at me as hard as he could, beating me to a bloody pulp. Tiny little nubby hands just beating me, just beating me to a point of unconsciousness. That's the last thing I can remember about the Boo. From what I'm told, several hours after the attack occurred, strangely, I appeared back at my campground. We don't know how I got there. I don't know if a passerby found me and placed me back at my camp, or it was the Boo himself. All I know is that you could barely recognize my face. Although I was fully clothed, I was missing my left shoe and my underwear. What kind of a sick creature would steal a man's underwear? What's he gonna do with them anyway? Emotionally, I'll never recover from that day. And I've dedicated my life to proving the existence of the Boo once and for all.